Welcome to the preseason edition of X's and Omar, alongside Sentinel Dolphins columnist Omar Kelly. I'm CBS 12 Sports Director Matt Lincoln. We are here to get you ready for training camp. Everything that is leading up to the start of the season and that first Week 1 game, September 9th, against the Titans. Have you had a nice, restful offseason? Are you ready to go with this team?
It hasn't been good enough. It hasn't been long enough. We get the same break that the players get, and there's an anticipation for the season just because people don't understand. My life from tomorrow is planned through January, the first week of January. If the Dolphins make the yeah, sure. If the Dolphins do make the playoffs, we go into week 2 of January. But however, I am planned to get married the day before the Super Bowl. So
they can't make the Super Bowl.
They can't make.
They cannot make the Super Bowl.
Unfortunately.
Fair enough. Okay, so we are going to talk about the additions to this team, everything you need to know that's going to be hashed out in this preseason, and we're going to talk plenty about Ryan Tannehill. But first, let's talk about who the Dolphins have lost during this offseason, because it is a lengthy list of important players. Jarvis Landry, Mike Pouncey, Ndamukong Suh, Lawrence Timmons, Julius Thomas, Michael Thomas, Damian Williams. These are a lot of players that played important minutes for the Dolphins last year. Who's the biggest loss?
More than the important minutes, I think it's the leadership that you lost. Even going down to guys like Damian Williams and Michael Thomas, the war daddy leader in Damian Williams, Michael Thomas, special teams captain for 2 years. All of that leadership, Mike Pouncey. And say what you want about Ndamukong Suh, he did provide or try to do leadership. To me, the biggest loss has got to be Ndamukong Suh, because it's hard to replace an all-pro player, no matter where he is, no matter what position. And Ndamukong Suh is a top 4 player at his position. Now, did you see a tangible difference in this defense with him here? Not really. But what you did is a lot of attention was taken off him. Now, that attention can be dispersed to other players. It's quite possible that Robert Quinn can step up and become that dominant presence that takes or requires some of the attention, but we just don't know. We have to see it have to see it happen on the field. And my biggest concern about Ndamukong Suh's absence is it puts pressure on Jordan Phillips, who everybody knows I'm not the biggest fan of. He's not the biggest fan of me. You know, Jordan Phillips is a player who has not always consistently performed at a high level, has not always been reliable. This is a pay year. Contract year, so this is when you usually get the best out of players. It'll be interesting to see what he does bring this season.
I don't disagree that it is, Sue, what they're going to miss most on the field, but you brought the leadership. I'm really curious to see where the leadership void is filled in the offensive line. And that's such an important part to have a cohesive unit, and Mike Pouncey embodied, especially, with the leadership that he provided, those 2 tackles for sure. Now you've got new guys, and where that leadership fits in on that unit's really interesting.
Mike Pouncey was the alpha male of this team, no doubt about it. He set the tone. The problem is he set the tone when he was available, when he was on the field. That wasn't very consistently. And for people who were taking bets, I wouldn't necessarily wager on Mike Pouncey playing all 16 games this season. That's probably the reason why the Dolphins parted ways with him. Unfortunately, there's a leadership void. Josh Sitton hopefully is going to supplant him as the leader of that unit. Then you've got Daniel Kilgore, who has been a leader, pseudo-reliable center in San Francisco. It'll be interesting to see how that whole thing plays out. But Mike Pouncey is going to be a difficult player to replace.
Obviously, Adam Gase played a part in most of this decision-making, but which one of these players do you think is the one he's going to miss the most?
On the field, it's probably going to be Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
Off the field, it's probably going to be Damian Williams, just because people don't know this because they aren't around the team as much. But Damian Williams and his personality, they're twins. People won't realize it unless they know both people, but they were very close. And Damian Williams was a hard, reliable, consistent guy.
Let's look ahead at what we can look ahead to in training camp and take some of your questions. Let's take a Twitter question from Richard Leonard, who asks, what position makes you feel queasy?
Well, there are 2 positions, and interestingly enough, they're sewn together because their success will determine how the defensive success goes. The defensive tackles. obviously losing Ndamukong Suh is going to be a difficult replacement. You've got pretty much 3 guys who are going to be called on to contribute more, paired with Devon Godchow. You've got Akeem Spence, a guy that they traded for from the Lions, undersized, kind of productive underachiever. You've got Jordan Phillips, oversized underachiever. And then you've got Vincent Taylor, a young developmental project. I liked him in training camp last year, but you don't know what he's going to do. And then the unit that they impact the most, because if your guards aren't doing their job, guards are getting to the second level. The center's getting to the second level. When they do get to the second level, who do they attack?
Linebackers.
The linebackers. And if you look at this linebacking unit, there's been players removed, not enough players added. Yes, you're adding 2 rookies in Jerome Baker and Quentin Poling, and you've added a free agent linebacker who I can't even remember his name, which shows you kind of how significant he is.
Right.
But Stephon Anthony's another year of development in this team, in this defense. But are they going to be proven commodities? Lawrence Timmons wasn't much, but he was consistent. And your play wasn't even good with him being consistent. Are you saying that guys who've never done it before are going to step up? And yes, I know Raekwon McMillan is added to this team, should be better, should take that next step, should probably be a 100-tackle player.
Take that next step. He doesn't have a step. He hasn't been on a step yet to take.
Yes.
So some step.
But it's going to be a second year in a rookie season for him, and I'm just not comfortable putting the success of my defense on a rookie. It just makes me, to quote Joe Philbin, a little bit queasy.
Right. Well, maybe the answer is to only play 2 linebackers. We'll get to that in a minute. I'll give you one position that makes me a little queasy, and that is backup offensive line.
Oh, I love that. Hold on.
You like those guys?
Wait a minute.
You like the backup offensive line?
Let's pause for a minute.
You like the tackles behind those guys?
Oh, absolutely. I thought Sam Young. Now, left tackle, that's a different subject.
Okay.
Left tackle, but how many teams have reliable, consistent, good left tackles? Sam Young played 8 games last season and was reliable, consistent, and that line came together. Ted Larson, who, when he played in the final 8 games of the season, he made that line respectable. He helped Larry Tunsil clean up his game. And now he becomes your 6th man. Now Sam Young becomes your backup center. And yeah, Isaac Asiata, some of I forget his name now, but Eric Smith, there's some developmental projects there, but they've got some talent. All you need to be is 8 deep, and I think they're 8 deep.
All right, fair enough. Next question comes from Matthew Fishman. How confident are you that the defensive tackles will create pressure up the middle and stop the run?
Not very confident. Jordan Phillips, Devon Godchar, they're not one-gap penetrators. They are gap eaters. Tackle makers, if you're counting Devon Godchar. Maybe Vincent Taylor's a one-gap penetrator. Akeem Spence, he has a reputation of being a one-gap penetrator, but a lot is going to be put on the shoulders of Devon Godchow. He's going to have to be the guy that consistently does it and eats up 700 snaps. Now, one guy that I will mention who I do have a high opinion of is William Hayes.
Right.
Now, William Hayes, when he was playing last season as a defensive end, he was very consistent, very reliable. You weren't running on William Hayes. Now, he has the body type that can move him inside to defensive tackle. Now, I do believe that the Dolphins plan to move him inside to defensive tackles on 3rd downs. At least it's one of the things I suggested in a column today.
And they're reading it. So
my 10 recommendation, that's the one thing I love about Evan Gase. He's not closed-minded. Even if a media member suggests something, if it's a good idea, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I do believe that William Hayes on 3rd downs can do you well and carry you over. I put him on 1st downs, and then I'd move him. Seriously move him down the line. 1st downs, he's a righty defensive end. Then Camway comes in on 2nd downs. Move William Hayes one spot. Then 3rd downs, I move him over another spot. He just consistently moves down the line to me. I think William Hayes, if he's healthy, if the back issue is a thing of the past, I think he's the key to your Dolphins defense being respectable.
All right. Next question from Adam Birnbaum. Who do you think starts at linebacker alongside McMillan and Kiko?
Oh, this is a good one. Because it comes down to the question of whether Matt Burke prefers to have Stephon Anthony or Jerome Baker or Chase Allen on the field as opposed to a 3rd safety. to me, it's going to be very challenging to beat out T.J. McDonald. I know Minkah Fitzpatrick's your first-round pick. I know he's the second player in college football history to win the Ben Derrick Award and top defensive player award. And yes, he is an instinctive playmaker. Question is, he's a rookie. T.J. McDonald started all 61 games of his NFL career. How many players can you say that about?
Yeah, not many. So and he was good. I mean, there was a little bit of playing with Rashad. I mean, that took a little while.
There's some chemistry issues between him and Rashad. They're both strong safeties. And here's my thinking in regards to the safety position. And it's another one of the things that I suggested, made of my 10 suggestions, and I have been banging the table for even before Minkah Fitzpatrick was added to this team. Get yourself a legitimate free safety and have that free safety serve as the back end center fielder where they control pretty much the whole back end of the secondary. And then you take the two safeties, you put them in the box, or put one in the box and one closer to the box, and you sort of play T.J. McDonald like a pseudo linebacker. He's done this with the Rams.
Right.
So it's not like this is something he's unaccustomed to. And instead of having Stephon Anthony on the field or Jerome Baker on the field, you have T.J. McDonald and his 61 games of experience. I could tell you he might be the biggest safety I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. He's a huge man. He's the size of a linebacker. He's probably 230 pounds. What's him losing 10 pounds if he can give you the physicality that you need in the box?
And then Minkah will play that deep free.
Minkah will play that deep free. See, you follow me.
Hey, all right, I'll learn something. Yeah. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about God, it feels like so long since we've been able to actually sit here and really talk about player number 17, Ryan Tannehill.
What are you talking about? All last season we romanticized about how
what it's going to be like when he comes back.
It could have been so good with Ryan and those final 9 games. Oh, he had 103 quarterback rating during that stretch. Oh, he's going to come back. Is he going to have his athleticism? This is what I will tell you about Ryan Tannehill. He is as athletic now, past the knee injury that's forced him to miss 20 games, as he was when he was a rookie in 2012. I don't see any difference. Okay. And I respectfully own my spot as the number 2 critic in America behind WQAM's Big O of Ryan Tannehill. I'm not a hater. I'm not a lover. But the athleticism is there. So if his critic can tell you the athleticism is there, and if his critic can tell you that there is still upside to Ryan Tannehill because he has a better grasp and understanding about this offense and the why behind this offense. That's important. I think he's got a quarterback-friendly slot receiver in Danny Amendola. Everybody sees what Danny Amendola's done for what's that quarterback name again? The great one. The GOAT.
Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Tom Brady.
That guy. And I don't believe that Danny Amendola will stay healthy for an entire 16-game season because I've seen him be thrown some passes that would have taken his life.
Sure.
If some of these safeties, T.J. McDonald, Rashad Jones, were actually allowed to hit him, even though that's a new NFL now, so you can't really hit players. But I do believe he's got players who are more quarterback friendly. I hate to say that because Jarvis Landry leads the NFL in receptions for the first 4 years of his career. But this guy is more quarterback friendly, and he is. The question is, will he have a tight end? I don't know. And I think the offensive line has improved, and I think his pocket presence has improved just slightly.
Well, and we've seen for 2 years, I think, with Jarvis, especially the first year, when Ryan Tannehill, when it was with Tannehill, that he really didn't have that grasp of the offense to go back there and go, I know what the best matchup is, I know who's going to be open, and I'm going to get it to him. It was really just like, where's Juice?
Yeah.
And then Cutler obviously never really opened up anything for Cutler last year, and he did the same thing. Where's Juice? And so this year, now with 4 receivers, maybe some talent at tight end, you've got the options for Tannehill, who supposedly, he just sat there and he watched the offense. Yeah. So he's got the grasp of it to be able to sit back there and actually find the open guy.
This is an opportunity for it to be more of his offense. Another suggestion I made. This has to be a play-action offense. I'm sorry, you saw the success that it had in 2016. I know Adam Gates wants to be spread it out, wide open, throw. Right. But I'm sorry, but putting the ball in Ryan Tannehill's hands to throw the ball 50 times is a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. This is an offense where you better run the ball 20 times, you better throw it 30 times, and hope that you don't turn it over, and that will lead to success and build a play-action passing game off the running game.
Let's take our next Twitter question from A037. True or false, Ryan Tannehill will have his best statistical year in 2018. Let's break down some of his completion percentages. It was 67% in 2016. He had 4,200 yards in 2015, 27 touchdowns that year too, 12 interceptions the past few years, and his high career passing rating is 93.5. Should we expect something better than all that?
I think we should expect something better than all that, except for the completion percentage. 67% is a pretty high percentage. I think he can throw more than 27 touchdowns. It really depends on how many opportunities does he have. Are they efficient on third downs? Do they execute in the red zone? And 12 interceptions. I didn't even realize that he'd only thrown 12 interceptions the last 3 years. That's a pretty good number for a starting quarterback playing 16 games. To me, the big number's the career, the career high in passer rating. I'm a big passer rating guy, as you know. We've been doing these shows since 2011. You know how I feel about passer rating. And Ryan Tannehill has to get into the 95 range in order for me to be comfortable with him as a starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. I think if you have a 95 rated quarterback, you're in the 9 to 10 win realm. And that's where this team needs to get to with Ryan Tannehill.
Next question from Andrew Ferrero. Since Tannehill seems to improve an area of his game each year, what is 17's focus in 2018?
To me, it's pocket presence. I think ever since Adam Gase got here, they've been working on drills that helped him with his footwork, helped him with maneuverability, movement in the pocket, slide a bit to the left. Everybody who watched Dan Marino for all the years that he was put together a Hall of Fame career, we took for granted. Dan Marino would slide a little bit, he'd move a little bit, move up, move right. You know, he'd be doing,
without having to do this.
Yeah. And I don't think that's a learned trait, but we will learn if it is a learned trait. And I think that they've done a better job of fortifying the interior of the offensive line to just give him half a second more. And I think half a second more will be the difference between maybe the 24th offense and the 18th offense.
And I think, too, that just having a better grasp of the offense is going to help that. You know, it's worse when you're like, where am I going with the ball?
Yeah.
And this guy is behind me. You get skittish.
And it's not always him. It's also the players around him that don't have a good grasp. Because what people don't understand is, and Adam Gase has said this repeatedly, in 2016, the slow start that they had, the 1-4 start, was a lot of Ryan knew what to do. Everybody else didn't know what to do. And Ryan spent so much of his time directing traffic, they had to slow down the offense and get everybody on the right page. And then when they did that, the offense started to take hold. They want to run an up-tempo offense. This is Kenny Still's third year in the offense. This is Devontae Parker's third year in the offense. Danny Amendola's played a dozen years in the NFL. He's been in the Patriot system. This is a allegedly similar offense to the Patriot system. It shouldn't be that hard. Kenyon Drake's third year in the offense. It shouldn't be that hard.
Right.
We shall see.
Well, and I like these weapons, and I think these are some good players surrounding Ryan Tannehill. But the way that this season is being marketed,
are you saying we finally don't have any excuses?
That's where I'm going with this. The way this season is being marketed by the Dolphins, the way this season feels is that this is Ryan Tannehill's team. There's no stars left, so Ryan Tannehill's got to be the biggest star, because who else is it going to be? Is it fair to say this finally is it? We are finally at the real make or break year for Ryan Tannehill. This is it. Finally.
I would love to tell you that.
Okay.
But I know the relationship that Adam Gase has with Ryan Tannehill. As long as Adam Gase is here as a quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, Ryan Tannehill will be the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. So I think, if anything, let's say they have an 8-8 season. Let's just be average.
Sure.
If anything, 2019 will be, this is the year for Ryan Tannehill.
I don't know. There's no one else to blame.
There is no one.
If this season doesn't go
I think Mike Tannenbaum falls on the sword this year if things don't go well. There's always one more person to blame.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's Tannehill. Tannehill is the guy that this season hinges on.
What makes me uncomfortable about the Miami Dolphins, since I've been covering this team for a decade, is they've always ridden with a quarterback too long, knowing that he wasn't the answer. And never got a contingency plan.
Right.
Never said, just in case, let's do this. And I thought, like they put out so many feelers and hints that, you know what, let's get a contingency plan. But then they said, wait a minute, if this doesn't go well, we're all going to get fired. Why are we getting a quarterback for the next guy?
Right.
Or the next people? Let them take their own quarterback. So they're all in on Ryan Tannehill. Even every single move, all in. Finally, no more excuses about, oh, he doesn't have enough playmakers. Oh, the only thing is the tight end is a little bit weaker than you would probably have hoped. The offensive line been fortified. We know what Kenyon Drake can do. Hell, Kenyon Drake can't get it done. Frank Gore's here. Yeah. The wide receivers. Hell, we got 5. Yeah. Throwing in Jakeem Grant. And yes, I'm finally saying Jakeem Grant is a good player on X's and O's. He's made so many plays during training camp. I'm like, wow, how could they get him the ball more? See how far I come?
Wow.
So it's, you got 5 good receivers. You got 2 good running backs. You got 4 mystery tight ends, but you got a good offensive line, or what should be a good offensive line so they can stay healthy. Now the question is the quarterback good? And if the quarterback isn't good, then we have to start asking, hey, is the head coach any good?
Is the head coach any good? Right. All right, so let's move on now, and we've talked a lot about the losses this season. Let's talk about who the Dolphins have added. Danny Amendola, Josh Sitton, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Frank Gore. First off, did the Dolphins do enough in trying to fill in for everyone that's left?
It's interesting that you asked the question, did they do enough? To explain to people in a nutshell what the Dolphins did this offseason is they've taken 3 expensive pieces, Ndamukong Suh, Mike Pouncey, Jarvis Landry. They said, you know what, we can survive without you. And they've taken the cheaper pieces and they've split them in 2. For a Mike Pouncey, we got a Josh Sitton and we got a Daniel Kilgore. For an Ndamukong Suh, we got a Keem Spence and actually used the resources to sign their rookie draft class, which includes the tight ends. For Jarvis Landry, we got Danny Amendola and Albert Wilson. So 2 for 1. The question is, do you value more depth as an NFL team or do you value more talent? And I'm in the talent department. I say, as an NFL organization, you should be collecting more good talent, more upper echelon talent, more elite talent, as opposed to making your roster deeper. But then again,
Well, we've talked about it for the past 3 years. This team had 10 to 12 of the, of what we would call upper echelon NFL players, and then garbage from, 40 on to the end. It didn't work.
Yeah. And I can't have it both ways, because I used to say you're only when Dallas Thomas was here, I used to say you're only as good as your weakest link as a team. And what the Dolphins have done is they've strengthened their weakest link. If an injury comes through on the offensive line, Ted Larson or Sam Young's there. Link ain't that weak. If an injury comes through on the linebacker unit, yeah, they're still weak there. But if an injury comes through in the secondary, Tony Lippett or even Minkah Fitzpatrick, they're not that weak. Hell, defensive end, they can rotate 6 guys and still get the job done, starting caliber play. So
And I think they learned that if the quarterback goes down, they're not signing one off the street this time.
If the quarterback goes down, you just start working on getting that top 5 pick.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Next question comes from Ryan Giarusso. What position battle are you most looking forward to going into camp?
To me, the top position battles are at defensive end and cornerback. To me, Tony Lippett, Cordrea Tankersley, I can't handicap this race for you. I can't tell you who's going to win. What I can tell you is, even though this is probably handicapping, Cordrea Tankersley gives you tighter coverage, but he doesn't give you the turnovers that Tony Lippett does. Remember, Tony Lippett had 4 turnovers in 2016. He's not giving you tight coverage, but when that ball is in the air, his former receiver skills kicks in, and he can go out there and get it. So it comes down to whether you want your receiver covered tighter or do you want the ball back. And I want the ball back. I think 9 turnovers is too few in the NFL. You got to have more. And then the other battle is the tight end position. A.J. Derby and Mike Gesicki, those are the both wide movement types. They're going to be competing. And then I think it's Marquise Gray's inline job to lose, because I don't think Durham Schmeidt is up there ready to contribute what he's contributed. And I will also make the point and say this about Marquise Gray. anytime you see a big play, and go look at the 2006 Philadelphia games, go look at the Buffalo games, go look at last season against Carolina. Anytime you see a big play, running play, you know who's in there blocking?
Marquise Gray.
Marquise Gray. And I love the way he cut blocks. Now, it's a dangerous play, one the NFL should abolish, but it's still a legal play. And if you put him in there to cut block 5 times a game, I guarantee you're going to get big plays.
And let's not forget that Marquise Gray is also the best option as a Wildcat quarterback.
You know what? A.J. Derby is a former quarterback,
Is he
too. So, yeah, they got a lot of former quarterbacks on the team. They could, if we're ever going to do the Wildcat again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just to honor Tony Sperano.
Oh, man.
Rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
All right, Richard Monroe. Is the tight end battle in training camp the most important one? Do you think you just kind of asked that question? What do you think this team is going to need more out of? Do you think they're going to need more of that blocking back, or do you think they're going to need more of Gesicki out there making plays?
If I go into the season knowing this talent level of this team, I want Kenyon Drake to be my number one weapon. I think he has a talent and capability to be a 5,000-yard all-purpose back in terms of 40 catches for 400 yards, in terms of rushing for 1,000 yards on maybe 225 carries. And for that, I need the inline guy. Yeah, getting a tight end down the seam and threatening linebackers, that's cute, that's great, that's a new evolution of the NFL. But, you know, you've survived without it last couple of years. It's not going to really make a difference. You know, Julius Thomas was invisible on the field.
Right.
Why? You know, but I do want to see A.J. Derby. People are underestimating him. I think he has some upside that we still have not seen. And Mike Gesicki, he's got to prove that he can be an inline blocker. He's got to prove that he can be a reliable guy. He's got to prove that he can learn the offense. I'm not one of those people who say, oh, you're a high draft pick. You need to be out there on the field doing it right now. Take your time. People in the NFL have told me, and I firmly believe this, it's unanimous. One of the hardest positions outside of quarterback to learn in your first year is tight end, because they're not teaching you how to do it NFL style in college. Nobody's teaching, maybe the University of Miami, and even they produce flawed tight ends. Nobody's teaching you, Notre Dame too. Nobody's teaching you how to play tight end in college football. So you got to learn in the NFL, and it takes a minute.
Are all 4 making the squad?
Yes, there's 6 now. I believe 4 will make the squad.
Well, the 4 that we're talking
because
about.
I think the evolution of how special teams is being changed will force teams to evolve to keep more tight ends as opposed to more offensive linemen, because you don't need that many wedge busters.
Okay. Next question comes from Max. Which players should Dolphins fans look forward to watch during training camp?
Which players should Dolphins fans look forward to watch?
I mean, I'd be excited to see Frank Gore in the flesh, man. That's a Hall of Famer. Go watch Frank Gore do his thing.
You know, I don't know how much he'll be practicing, and Frank Gore, and I say this all the time. I've covered Frank Gore since his freshman year at University of Miami. I'm close to Frank Gore. I at least consider myself close to Frank Gore. We've kind of grown up in this business together. Frank Gore is my favorite NFL player, and I can tell you there are things that he does that you can't teach. In terms of what Don Solinger, who's one of my favorite position coaches, former University of Miami legend, say, the lamps, the vision. Frank doesn't practice much during OTAs, but let me explain something to you. There are times when the line is going to the left or set up to go to the left, and Frank sees a little crease, and he does just a jump cut, and he takes it to the right, and he gets you 4 to 6 yards. And I watched it during practice. Yes, there are no pads, but I've been watching that for 14 years. That's Frank Gore. You can't teach that. He has a vision to see lines set up, see running lanes set up, and so that's one. I'm interested in the tight end position. Marquise Gray is a sleeper to me. I'm interested in seeing what happens with this linebacker spot, that third spot. You know, Stephon Anthony is a former first-round pick.
Yeah.
Failed in New Orleans, but he's a former first-round pick. He has talent. I was never a fan of him in the draft process because he processed too slow. It's just like, and I can't waste that second waiting for you to read and recognize and go get the play. But I think in his second year in this offense, with his athleticism and ability, and knowing that his NFL career is on the line.
Right.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it. Next year he's a free agent. Dolphins decline their 5th-year option. This is it. This is his opportunity to show he can play.
Well, and if I was a Dolphins fan, I'd be excited about going to see Devontae Parker, because this is the best he's going to look all season. Is in training camp. We've done this enough.
Cool. That is so cool. You know what? I am not a super critic of Devontae Parker because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen dominant talent The problem is
In training camp.
In training camp. The problem is, can he bring it to a game consistently? And those Jay Cutler, Devontae Parker practices, boy, there was nothing like it.
That's all we wrote and talked about.
This
is it, maybe.
There were nothing like it. And then we get to game 1. Did he get hurt game 1 or was it game 2?
I don't remember.
It's happened so often, yeah. But he's got talent. I believe this passing game is going to be 4 players. 70 receptions to the lead guy, 60 receptions to the second guy, 50 receptions to the third guy. Devontae Parker catches 40 passes. I think it's going to be a very diverse passing game. So I'm not putting all my eggs in the Devontae Parker basket.
All right. Lots of questions for the Dolphins going into the season. Maybe the most pressing is who is going to be hosting X's and Omar with Omar Kelly, because it is not going to be me. Unfortunately, I'm stepping down from my chair and ceding it over to whoever is next. And I just wanted to, with this being my last show, just wanted to thank certainly everyone here at Sun Sentinel for allowing me to be here, including you, Omar. I've really enjoyed doing this. I've done a lot of different type things in TV and in sports and online, and nothing has been quite like this. So I've really enjoyed doing this.
Do you know we've been doing this together since 2011?
Have we really?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel that way.
It does not feel that way, and I appreciate you for all the work.
Look
that
how
you put
far
into
we've
the
come.
show. I know.
Look at this.
Look at this. It's a beautiful show.
That's like real wood. You know, there's like a tree over here.
While my name is on the show, you are 50% of the show, and I thank you for the sacrifices that you've made and the commitment that you've made to the show. And you're all will always
thanks,
be a brother.
Omar. Remember,
Yes.
what side to put your mic on and where,
you
how
taught
to
me
set the edge
so
of the chair.
much about
Remember all those things?
broadcasting. And as a tribute to you, we do have a Matt Lincoln tribute.
Oh, a Matt Lincoln tribute.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
mine's not ready yet, but.
Okay.
Welcome to another edition of X's and Omar. I'm CBS 12 Sports Director Matt Lincoln. A new season brings new things for our show.
What about X's and Nomar?
That's exactly. We got to come up with a new name for this thing.
You don't want that. We don't want that. Of course, Omar Kelly, the man you bother incessantly on Twitter.
I am the cat,
Yes.
because I'm a cat in the hat.
I'm Batman.
It's better to look at us.
I wish I could look
You're
at us
very
all the
pretty, man.
time. You're not a bad looking man yourself.
you.
He's engaged and he's not going anywhere. And he's got to get better.
I know this is our first show together, and you're touching me already. I don't know how I feel about that. We are just 2 weeks away from the real season starting as the Dolphins head out to Seattle to take on Russell Wilson and the Legion of Boom? Legion of Boom.
Legion of, I thought it was Legion of
Doom? Well, you wrote down Legion of Dome. I know that's not right. I'm pretty sure it's Legion of Boom, which is closer. Speaking of which. Well, I hate to say it, but early in the season, Chris Perkins was sitting right next to me with less hair and no hat. And we debated about what was a bigger key for the Dolphins' success, Jay Ajayi or the offensive line.
I really think that's a big key, man.
Well, I think we might disagree on what's the most. Is it the offensive line leaving the holes for Ajayi, or is it Ajayi that's making the offensive line look better?
So you're an offensive line
I'm
guy.
the offensive line guy.
Yeah. See, you got the
just
Omar
'cause I
Kelly
saw-
disease.
Well, I
think.
just
That's-
saw it. We
yeah.
just saw it last year.
Uh-huh.
And while certainly you could argue it's a little bit of both, it's more the offensive line. And I was right in that debate. Perk, I hope you're watching. I was right in that debate.
Well, we were.
Look at that.
That's so great. You are depressed Dolphins fans struggling to understand why this great Miami defense cannot close these games. I can't think of what crime I have committed that could punish me that is deserving of having to watch this Dolphins offense the rest of the season.
Oh, wow. Joe Philbin wasn't interesting, wasn't charismatic. The queasy comments probably as good as it gets.
This thing too.
We're going to jiff that.
Look at you. What a heavy jacket that is.
I'm hot. Why am I talking like you?
Okay.
Challenge. There's a challenge on the plate.
We're okay. We just went and played two of the toughest teams.
Kenyon Drake doesn't know what the NFL is.
I know. But
Yeah,
I think there are guys
Matt,
who are saying,
I'm going to put you in the corner because you don't listen to a rookie.
all right,
That's
spicy.
Good. That's good, yeah.
That is
You like that, huh?
spicy. They didn't give me the pretty purple shirt, though. Coaching staff needs to take their shackles off of Ryan Tannehill. They
There are
need
no
to
shackles on Ryan Tannehill.
let him go. Let him throw.
Ryan Tannehill has all the money.
I'm not going to criticize Ryan Tannehill for anything that he did. We could go on and on about this. So
Nice kid.
great to talk to. Great interview. It was a great interview.
He is a great interview.
Is it all over now? Great. That's going to do it. Thanks for joining us. And there's the slow-mo. Are we coming back? Are we back on here?
We are back on.
Oh, that's really nice.
Thank you.
God, we had a good time.
We had a good
Yeah,
time.
this was more fun than I remember. And now I'm watching that, and now I say, wow, this was really a lot of fun.
A lot of work, a lot of fun, always.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your new opportunity.
Yeah, well, that'll come out later.
Yeah, it'll
All
come
that
out
sort of
later.
stuff.
but We will always be Matt and Lincoln fans, and you will always be part of the show.
Sure, and I know it's crazy to say this, but I really have enjoyed interacting with our fans on Twitter, and sometimes you guys get really crazy, but I've enjoyed doing it. And I've really enjoyed covering this team, and the Dolphins have been really good to me, and so certainly has everyone here at the Sun Sentinel. So, love you guys. There's no one over there. I'm going to pretend there's people over here and over here, and we'll see you somewhere else. We'll be online. So, and we'll stay friends. What are we going to
I
go
just
do?
have no idea who I'll be here with.
Are we going to close out on this is how we do it? Do we have this is how we do it?
Give me your predictions for the season.
Oh no, I don't have to do that.
No, yes you do. Come on, people need to know. I won't get mine, but I want yours.
9-7.
9-7.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a respectable number.
That's what it's going to be.
A respectable number.
It's going to be
respectable
9-7.
season.
I think they're
You're
going to be
saying
pretty good.
December will matter.
I'm buying the fact that Ryan Tannehill will have his best season. I'm buying the fact that some of the players that they need to step up will step up. Like some of the younger guys. Finally, it feels like there's some development going on. I know we've talked about in recent years that doesn't feel, who's these young guys getting better because no one's getting better, and now it feels like these guys are in fact getting better. And I think two of the other teams in the AFC East are garbage, so I think that they will find a way to get to 9 wins.
Yeah, rookie quarterbacks, you make a very valid point. Ryan Tannehill should be the second best quarterback in this division.
God, if he's not, then the
Yeah,
Dolphins
if
are
he's
in
not,
serious trouble.
You need to hit the reset button.
All
Always
right.
a pleasure,
Thank
my
you
friend.
very much.
You will
I
continue
appreciate
to be
it.
a friend.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
That's it for X's and Omar.